Okay, I am here with Lourdes and Chai. We're talking about a new movie called I'm Everywhere that's on IndieGogo right now. And I understand that it's a prequel to a student film called Allure to Darkness. So before we talk about I'm Everywhere, let's talk about Allure to Darkness first. Where did the idea come from with this particular movie?
Where it came from was during a couple of like traumatic events in my personal life, and I mixed it with the current setting at the time, which happens to be at a student film, and I combined all the stuff that have happened to me to the current events I was in at that time, and just mixed it in. Throw in some vampire mythology. Full disclosure, I'm not a vampire. I'm human, a human filmmaker. So there's that. I used all of my resources from school and from my personal life, and I just like created something out of it during the time that I was struggling with self-harm and dealing with a toxic environment right before the pandemic.
Oh wow, that's pretty interesting. And that's interesting. You use vampire mythology. Did you watch vampire films growing up? And if so, what were some of your favorites?
I've watched a ton of vampire films and TV shows growing up, such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Dracula, 1992, and that was like when I was a child, and then Queen of the Damned as well. When I was a teenager, I used to watch a lot of the Vampire Diaries and Twilight, and also rewatching Buffy a bunch of times as well.
That's awesome. So let's talk about I'm Everywhere now. Now, Chai, how did you get involved with this production?
It was really, really awesome how I ended up getting involved. So I was actually offered the role of Lilith in Allure to Darkness, but I was working on my book at the time, so I couldn't take the role on. But then Landon, who plays Victor, who is the main character, he's the big baddie, he's the vampire and everything. Him and Lourdes were working on the idea for I'm Everywhere and making it a prequel, centering it on Victor and kind of just delving more into his motivation and his origin story and all that. And Lourdes was just like, she mostly just wanted to take on the executive producer role, and do things there. So she was just like, they were talking and they were just like, well, like, who can we get to direct this? And then Landon was just like, well, why don't we just ask Shay and just see if she wants to do it? And I was just like, this is gonna be I'm gonna say it's my first directorial debut. And just I get to work with Lourdes. She and I get like along really, really well. And I get to work with a bunch of people that I already know, and basically my friends and my chosen family, and I get to direct my husband in a movie. So I was just like, hell yes.
That's awesome. So, are you guys also into the vampire films? And what are your favorites? I would love to hear that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I actually didn't grow up with Twilight because I was a Hunger Games stan, but I did love like 90s and 2000s like vampire horror movies. Anywhere from drama like Let the Right One In is a really, really great one. But then you also have like Lourdes said, our biggest inspiration for the film is probably going to be like Queen of the Damned, Blade. Yeah, definitely Blade. I love.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Vampires, the Nick Cage movie, which I don't know if that qualifies, but it's got like the same kind of like characteristics, I guess, shared
Yeah,
characteristics. Also, Bram Stoker's Dracula for sure.
yeah. I also like John Carpenter's vampires. Not so much the sequels, but I like the first one with James Woods as like the hunter, and
I've never seen
I
that.
see,
I
I
didn't
see
know.
her face. She was like, I have not seen it. Like, you haven't seen that? It's a good one. Thomas Ian Griffith, who's on Cobra Kai, he's the main vampire in this one. It's real. I saw it in the theaters when it first came out. It was pretty cool, and he teams up with a priest who also is like a vampire hunter training. And yeah, there's some great comic stuff between the two of them. But it's yeah, you should definitely check that one out.
I definitely will.
You said Tom Woods. I'm like, okay. I'm
James-
sold. No, James
Woods.
Thank God.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. So, for those who don't know yet, what is Allure to Darkness? What's the story behind that? Before we can, I'm everything. What's the story behind?
So Allure to Darkness revolves around the protagonist who is a college student and a filmmaker, who's just living her life as, a filmmaker and a student, trying to make ends meet as a struggling filmmaker. And then her life changes all of a sudden after a night class, with Victor, who is like her abuser and stalker. And she just happens, to be turned into a vampire without her consent. And I'm not gonna say any more, but yeah, but she eventually does find a way to find her power and her light within her own traumatic event that she went through.
That's interesting. Is this available to view anywhere for fans to see yet, or is that something in the works that's coming out soon for people to check out?
Sorry. So I'm sorry. So for Allure to Darkness, I do have a trailer that is out on my YouTube channel called Lourdes Viray. The film is not released yet, as I am keeping it in private, despite its festival's runs being over, just to save it for a few people that have wanted to see it.
Okay. Now, in terms of I'm Everything, which is from the prequel you mentioned, so we get to hear about Victor. So I want to hear from Landon now. What's it like playing this crazy vampire that's going to be wreaking havoc?
So in Allure to Darkness, it was a lot of fun, getting to work with the script, and there's choreography involved, and not giving away too much. But when we kind of dived into I'm Everywhere, and when Lourdes came to me with the pitch of like, hey, we want to make a prequel, it's going to be more delving into Victor's past and how he gets his powers, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be juicy. We can go really deep with it. And bringing Shay on, we've all been writing the script together, and just got it finalized, and I'm excited for it. It's going to be really awesome. Good.
Awesome. And now it's on IndieGogo for hopefully people will get to pitch that, you guys are pitching it, and hopefully there's fans donating. Has there been any impact on it so far? Are fans like checking, like going, I want to put my money into this?
We've definitely been getting some support, like here and there, mostly from friends and family. What we're trying to accomplish right now is to get as much outreach and spread as much awareness about the film as possible. So we're doing everything from that hardcore Facebook outreach to we're doing in-person fundraisers. We're getting raffles here pretty soon. We have this really cool merch stuff that I designed myself, because I also work as a comic book artist. And yeah, we actually recently brought on Destiny Soria, who's the director of Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah, I interviewed her before. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Christmas Slasher. That's going to be pretty wicked.
Oh my God.
I had the pleasure of acting in that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but if Santa Claus kills you in this one, then I'm going to be off. I'm like, well, you killed a vampire.
There you go. You never know.
Yeah, of course, we've got to wait till next year for that, but I think it's going to be worth the wait once everything's all settled.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh my God.
We saw like a really rough version of the movie, and oh my gosh, I was in stitches.
It's
dying
insane.
laughing. It wasn't even a moment of us like.
Yeah.
I was just like, just
God.
laugh after
laugh. We had so much fun watching it, and then Destiny is like, oh, this guy, and then this, explaining all the trivia to us, and like, telling us about everything behind the filming and all that, and then we come to his scenes, and that's just some crazy stuff goes down. I'll just say that. And then I'm sure when it actually comes out too, I would love to talk about like, things behind production that happened there too. But yeah, it was such a fun movie.
That's the best part about
what
being
a great
on a
movie
set,
to work on. Yeah.
Working on film.
But yeah, that's a cool thing. But we love Destiny, obviously. She's like she's family, you know. So it's really meaningful for her to have seen how much the movie I'm Everywhere that we're working on, how she saw how meaningful it is to us, and she's just like, this is a great idea and great production that you're working on, and you guys are doing a lot. So now she's in on production as executive producer, so she's helping us with the film as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. So, Alert Darkness is set in the contemporary time, like probably like pretty much like now. But so when is I'm Everywhere set? Like how far back do we go into that mythology?
So basically, since Allure to Darkness takes place in 2020, which is at the peak of the pandemic, kind of like not as peak as it was, but I'm Everywhere takes place in between 2018 to 2019 and early 2020. More like, wait, let me correct myself real quick. 2019 into early 2020, right before the pandemic.
All right.
But
Oh, that's quite interesting.
we also have a bit of a flashback scene as well, where I mean, I don't think it's spoiling too much because there's a lot that happens in this little scene, but we also have a scene that takes place kind of in the 16th century. And this is I said a little scene, but it's actually a huge scene. So we're also gonna kind of see Victor's origins and see just like a little bit of where he came from, and maybe kind of explaining or exploring, you know, why the hell he is the way he is.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I'm like, yeah, how far are we going back with this? Because since we're gonna know Victor who he is, that's gonna be quite interesting to see. That's kind of like Twilight, where you see all the backstories of the Cullen clan, you know, where you like Jasper being a Civil War general and all that. That's gonna be quite interesting to check out.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really juicy, which is a little hint to what's happening.
And maybe if this does well enough, we might get a sequel to Alert of Darkness where we get to see the filmmaker in what she's going through nowadays, now that the pandemic's over. So we got the pre-pandemic, and then we have the pandemic, and now we can have the post-pandemic, like basically. So that might even be in the cards too.
Oh yeah, it's like it's really expanding to this whole like as this whole like little cinematic universe, this little vampire universe, and it all comes from Lourdes's brain. Like she tells me things about like certain characters, like what if this is what happened with this character and all that, and it just blows my mind. So there's definitely like a lot more in store for sure.
That's awesome. Well, we're definitely gonna have links in the description for the IndieGogo for this movie, and I'm hoping people will definitely donate to get it made. I mean, this sounds like a very interesting project. And then who knows, this might even lead to a wider release of Alert of Darkness. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. And we'll go from there. So in the meantime, like are you guys working on what's gonna be next? Or do you have anything planned after I'm Everywhere down that road yet? Or you just
Yeah. I have several projects planned actually, and that I'm working on here and there. One of our cast members is the front man for this local band called it's a how would you describe it, like pop punk, post punk local Las Vegas band called Utilitarian Librarians. So I'm going to be working with him on developing some really cool music videos. I have other short films kind of in the works, and then I also have my comic book series that I'm writing for right now. So that's what I've got going on other than this movie, which takes priority. But yeah.
What about you, Lourdes? What's in the burner for you down that road?
After I'm Everywhere, I'm not totally sure what's going on, but if I have someone reach out to me asking for their help regarding casting calls or like crowdfunding, I'll be sure to give them a shout out on Instagram and Facebook, and especially on Instagram stories as well.
All right. Well, I hope everyone gets to get a chance to look at the IndieGogo and check out, because this sounds like a very ambitious project, and I definitely would. This is definitely one I would definitely check out myself. And if it leads to Alert of Darkness, I'm all in for that one too. And who knows where this universe is going to go. But once again, Lourdes, Shay, Landon, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this. And I'm going to help you guys get the word out on this, and we'll see how things go.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for having us. This has been
Thank
fun.
you so much.
All right. Well, you guys take care and you have a good day.
You
Yeah, you
too.
too.